Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. What a good few days it's been in the world of pro wrestling. What a good few days it's been in my life here. I got the day off on Tuesdays. I'm recording a little later today. I usually record in the morning, but I had to get my hair cut at 10:30 in the morning, earliest I probably ever got my hair cut. And I was in downtown Durham. I don't know if you guys have ever been to that city, but it's a pretty cool city, a city I live in. And then I was like, hey, why don't I get a cup of coffee? I'm already down here. Oh, why don't I walk on this cool trail, the American Tobacco Trail? And then before you know it, it was lunchtime, and I decided to treat myself to some pizza. And then I was like, I gotta get the fuck home. One, I gotta record a podcast, and two, I'm spending way too much money here treating myself. I pretty much had like a Friday night, a Saturday night on a Tuesday morning. If anybody's got a problem with that, they probably shouldn't be listening to this podcast, because that's my only day off, guys, is Tuesday. So my Tuesday mornings are that's my time to shine. No one else is out. I have the city to myself. It was a great time. Watched a little Sports Center while eating some pizza. NBA playoffs are going on. Watching that. But I'm also watching Monday Night Raw. Austin Theory wins the U.S. title. I think that's a good move. It helps Theory because he's been killing it this year in ring, on Raw and even at WrestleMania. And it also elevates the U.S. title. I mean, the U.S. title, of course, has been on, big names like, John Cena over the years. And I think way back in the day, Ric Flair, but it wasn't on WrestleMania this year. They weren't really doing much with Finn Balor. So putting it on Austin Theory kind of elevates the title as well as elevates Austin Theory, which is a solid move. And then I love the babyface Dusty Rhodes at Starrcade finish where the heels come out and pick him up on his shoulders. It's just funny as shit to me. Also, like the wedding, Reggie rolled up his wife right there after, on their wedding day to become champion. And then Tozawa, I don't know what happens here. What is it? Tozawa's wife rolls up Reggie right in front of Tozawa, but he doesn't mind it because Tozawa gets to roll up his wife, turns around, and it's Reggie's wife that rolls up Tozawa. If you're following what I'm saying here, I'm talking about the 24/7 championship. Get your mind out of the gutter. Cody getting all the pyro over and over again multiple times on Raw is hilarious. Kushida, though, I don't know if you guys have heard the news. NXT star, former New Japan Pro Wrestling junior heavyweight champion, or was it IWGP Junior Champion? Sorry, guys, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. Leaves the WWE. Fightful reports his contract just ran out. No one knows if he was offered a new one or they just let it expire here, but I think this is good. I hope he goes back to New Japan. AEW has way too many people. I think he's a big enough name to go to one of those two places, but AEW is too full. They've got two companies and they're too full. And I think the junior division in New Japan really could use a legend like that coming back, because then you would have Hiromu, Ishimori, El Desperado, and LP. So you'd have four major stars, which is more than they've had in years in that division, which would be pretty cool. And, why not go back to New Japan? Why not go back to Japan in general? We saw Kenta make the move from NXT or WWE to Japan, and it helped him out a lot before he got injured. But he was getting pushed. He was in a main faction a lot more than I think he would be if he just went to AEW. And I think the same here for Kushida. That's enough WWE talk. We got to talk about this YouTube star, Italian social media star, Alberto Frati. Hope I'm saying that name right. Probably not. He tried to pull a Jake Paul and fight a pro boxer with an 0-13 record. So this guy's fought 13 times and not won a single one, and got knocked the fuck out from that boxer. This kind of legitimizes Jake Paul for me, because now we know that it's hard to do what he did. It's hard to make such a spectacle of yourself and continue to win despite it all being just a publicity stunt. I would say this helps him out, because now we know, seeing someone else try it, and fail, that's a little harder to do than what some people are giving him credit for. He's getting a lot of recognition fighting guys with bad or no records at all, but he's at least winning these fights, where Alberto here is getting knocked the fuck out. 0-13 too. Like, I can't imagine having an 0-13. I didn't think boxers like that existed. I thought that if you fought 10 times and lost 10 times, you would not be a pro boxer. You'd be a retired boxer at that point. But no, this guy got his first win in his career after 13 fights against this YouTube star. Haven't seen the fight myself, but I did see the highlight. Worth checking out. New Japan AEW joint show Thursday, June 23rd in Chicago. Should be a big deal. Hopefully it's not like the third night of Wrestle Kingdom with the joint show between New Japan and Noah. Hopefully it's a little more to it. They kind of already have a lot of joint shows. We'll get into it a little later, but there was a lot of AEW talent on the New Japan Strong Windy City Riot show. So hopefully it's more like Windy City Riot and not like the third night of Wrestle Kingdom. But we'll get into New Japan a little bit. We're going to be talking about AEW Battle of the Belts here. Good matches, okay matches, but you could have just had those matches on Dynamite or Rampage. I'm not really sure why they do a Battle of the Belts Saturday night. 1 hour of wrestling. Most people are just going to watch it Sunday morning, I think. I don't know really why they're doing this Battle of the Belts series here. If I were them, I would just replay Rampage and hopefully get more and more people to watch that. Apparently that's what MTV would do back in the day with like The Challenge or Jersey Shore. They would just show it over and over again, so many people got to see it that it became a bigger deal. So maybe instead of doing this Battle of the Belts thing every quarter, you can do, you just replay Rampage, especially if you're putting Rampage on at 7 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. Just re-air it so some people who miss it can kind of maybe stumble across it. But diving into the body of the show is pretty good. Sammy Guevara with Ty Conti coming out versus Scorpio Sky with Dan Lambert in his corner. Crowd behind Scorpio here. They're chanting for Scorpio. Ethan Page comes out. Ty gets in Ethan's face. Sammy does a senton on Page and Sky. Page ends up bleeding, I'm assuming through something that happened there. Paige Van Zant, though, runs out and brawls with Ty. After Ty gets involved, low blow from Guevara. Guevara gets the victory and gets the TNT title for the third time. That ends the worst TNT title reign, I think, of all time with Scorpio Sky. But also, Ty gets involved and Sammy wins with a low blow. I see a heel turn coming. Cody didn't want to be heel. People wanted to boo Brandy. And now Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara were happy to take that heat that I don't think Cody wanted and put it on themselves. A lot of public display of affection here, making out as they go up the ramp. But I do think that people want a top heel. Like, they have MJF, but they want another top heel in AEW. The people want it. They were ready to boo Cody out of the building every night, but Cody didn't want it. But I don't think Sammy Guevara really gives a shit. As long as you're paying attention to him, I think he's all good with it. And they seem to be leaning into it, not only with these pictures they're taking on Twitter, posing with the belt and everything like that, but then in the body of the show, winning with a low blow. And Ty Conti did get involved, it seems like, more so than Ethan Page got involved here. The crowd's still cheering for Scorpio Sky, that feel-good story with the African-American TNT champion, over Sammy Guevara, who had not done the low blow yet. So I think this is the perfect time to just lean into that heel work, get them away from Dan Lambert, start feeding them faces, and having Ty cheat. Maybe you got to do the Paige Van Zant Ty Conti match, but I would rush that along and make this heel run happen sooner rather than later. The next match, Gresham versus Dalton Castle. The return of the boys. They kind of left Ring of Honor, and here they are back with Dalton Castle in AEW. I can see Dalton Castle kind of getting more over than Jonathan Gresham with the AEW crowd. Not necessarily this match alone, but if they keep bringing Dalton Castle back, I can see it happening here with that AEW crowd. He's a little silly, but he can work. Kind of fits perfectly with AEW. Gresham going after the arm in the match. Hurricane Rana and big toss from Castle. You forget Castle's collegiate background with his like silly gimmick, but he reminds you of it when he's in the ring. Octopus, Dalton taps, Lethal, Sanjay, and Singh come out, attack Gresham until Joe comes out. Joe, huge pop here. In this bigger landscape right now, it seems like Joe and Gresham, the Ring of Honor champions, look a little stronger than a lot of the AEW champions. I'd be interested to see how this plays out over time. But right now, like Joe, I would say, Jonathan Gresham, FTR look way bigger than their, contemporaries as the AEW champions. I mean, I would put Joe over Hangman as far as overness with the last few weeks at least. And I would put Gresham over Guevara. And I would also definitely put FTR over Jurassic Express at the moment. Speaking of, kind of getting lost in the cracks here, Thunder Rosa, her first time defending the women's championship here against Nyla Rose. She won it in Texas, and now they're coming all the way back around to Texas. Of course, it's a big state here to defend the title. I don't know here. Missile dropkick. Nyla is a little better than what people give her credit for. Hurricane Rana, 1, 2, 3. Thunder Rosa gets the victory. Celebrates. Coming down the ramp at the beginning of the match with a cowgirl hat on. And then celebrating in the crowd when she wins. She is still over, but I think she's less over now than when she was chasing the title. I guess the money is in the chase with the babyface, but come on, you have to give her a little bit more wins. I mean, even on Darker Elevation, just have her pick up a few wins to keep that ball rolling, because that cage match put her over huge in the crowd that you wanted to have. They were all chanting her name and everything, but that feels like a lifetime ago. They kind of did the same thing with Hangman Page. I mean, Hangman Page had those great matches with Kenny Omega and Daniel Bryan, but now it feels like that was a lifetime ago. The Adam Cole feud really didn't do what I think they thought it was going to do for him, and they need to heat him up. I know they're having him go up against Punk here, and the rumor is they're going to put the title on Punk. I think that's a bad move. Punk he's one of my favorite of all time, but he's been fucking up in the ring. There's not a match that happens with Punk where there's not one slip up or one botch, and you don't want that in your title match. So I would keep it on Hangman, and I would have Hangman drop it to MJF later on in the year. But we're moving on from AEW, and we're going to be talking about New Japan Strong, Windy City Riot. This show was the first time New Japan Strong really felt like a big New Japan show for me. Full fun multi-man matches at the beginning that led to 3 huge big-time feel main events. Kevin Kelly and the man formerly known as Aiden English on commentary. Audio issues at the first match, and during the main event, the camera needed to be charged, and the screen went black and then flashed like battery needed. So other than those 2 flubs, everything looked good. Eddie Kingston showed up. That was pretty cool, coming down, staring at Ishii after the Suzuki versus Ishii match. That match is going to be a banger. 2 guys that wrestling fans know and non-wrestling fans might look at, or just exclusive WWE fans might look at and roll their eyes a bit. But the fans of New Japan or AEW see this match and they're marking out. And if you know, you know, and I fucking know. Eddie Kingston versus Ishii, match of the year candidate before it even begins, in my opinion. But I did rank every single match from worst to first. All 8 matches here we're going to be are all 8 matches. Sorry, I didn't want to repeat of what happened last show with the AEW Dynamite and Rampage. So all 8 matches here we're going to be breaking down. Number 8 out of 8. The Factory versus the LA Dojo. Good to see the Factory in New Japan. I really think QT is underrated. Nick Camarado is as well. He did have a little bit of a blunder here, not being able to hold 3 men up at once, but you got to move on from that. I thought Carl Fredericks would be like New Japan Pro Wrestling champion, or New Japan Strong champion by now, but they're here in the first match. He has a long career ahead of him. QT wins with a low blow. Opening match, ranked last. The whole card was very well booked. You kind of built well. Moving on. And then we have the United Empire versus the Bullet Club, a 12-man tag match. Scott Norton was in this match, which was a lot of fun. I've never seen Ozzy open before, but they were impressive. Bullet Club reinventing the back rake every single match. That's always fun. But 1, 2, 3, the United Empire get the victory here. And then we have the 10-man tag match. Team Filthy, Black Tiger, Kratos, Danny Limelight, Joel Nelson, and Royce Isaacs, former NWA Tag Champion there, versus the team led by Fred Rosser with Neurotos, Alex Coughlin, Chris Dickinson, and Josh Alexander. This match was stacked with great wrestlers. All of them, look good bell to bell, and also coming down the ramp, they're all yoked, pretty much, is what I'm saying here. Brawling right away. Alex Coughlin at one point suplexes Kratos. Kratos at another point dives on everybody. Rosser taps out Black Tiger with a chicken wing. I really liked the transition between this match into the match that was following this, which was Nagata and Lawler. We'll talk about that a little later, but Lawler came out to help his team and attack Fred Rosser, and then Nagata had seen enough, so he came out. So they kind of just jumped right into that next match. But we're going to be talking about the number 4th best match on the card right now, the 6-man hardcore match. This was a fun match, but it did drag a little bit. Jonah Rock, Shane Hayes, and Bad Dude Tito versus Brody King and Finjuice. This whole match revolved around David Finlay getting revenge on Jonah Rock for injuring his son, or his brother. And then his father gave him his old shillelagh. Fit Finlay gave David the shillelagh to use in this hardcore match. They brawl around the arena. This shit lasted forever. They could have just jumped to what they did right in the ring and had just as good of a match and a little bit of a shorter match. Shane Hayes cracked me up here, still trying to fight while a trash can was put over his head. ECW chants on a New Japan show. That was kind of cool to see. Bonsai splash off the top through a ladder and through Brody King's abdomen to the floor by Jonah Rock. Finally, David Finlay gets the shillelagh and gets the win, avenging his fallen brother. Fun match, but did drag a little bit. If this match was just what happened in the ring and not that large brawling segment, I would have put it up there with some of these single matches on the show. But that didn't happen. So going into the next match on the show, which would be Lawler versus Nagata here, brawling outside the ring, wrestling back in the ring. Nagata with a crossface countered into an ankle lock by Lawler, and then he sits back and just locks it in even more. But Blue Justice does get to the ropes. Penalty kick, 1, 2, Nagata kicks out, and then knee to the head, 1, 2, Lawler gets the victory. And then we go into the top 3 matches. The last 3 matches, these were bangers, all of these matches. Jay White versus Umino. Shota Umino has changed a lot in the past few years. I hadn't seen him since he was a young lion. I don't watch Rev Pro, but he looks like how Warhorse thinks of himself looking. A little mini Tanahashi here, white leather jacket, still getting the rub from Jon Moxley. Huge pop from the crowd. And they gave him a lot of offense here. 2 former young lions going at it. White getting in control and talking mad shit. Shota not giving up here. Hits a slobber knocker, bitch slap right to Jay White. Not, piss and vinegar, full of piss and vinegar. Fires up, pump handle, bridging German. Jay White cuts him off. Blade Runner, 1, 2, 3. Jay White gets the victory. And now I think my 1 and 2 in this match, they're interchangeable here. You could really just say one was better than the other, and I wouldn't really complain. But number 2 out of 8 here, Ishii versus Suzuki, strike battle, because of course this match starts with a strike battle between these two. They both get chairs. Ref doesn't know which chair to take. Crowd is chanting, let them fight, let them fight. And I guess he listens to the Chicago Faithful. They just whack each other with the chairs like kind of like in Star Wars when the 2 lightsabers kind of cross. They just kind of were pushing and swinging chair to chair. Strike battle again. Both men drop. Kevin Kelly says a really good quote here. It's like a battle between two zombies. You just can't kill either one. Perfect explanation of this match. Suzuki can't hit the pile driver. Ishii hits the brainbuster. 1, 2, 3. Ishii wins, and then Kingston comes out. What an amazing match. That leads to another amazing match to come, which is Eddie Kingston and Ishii. So super excited for that one. Suzuki, he did his big American run, and I feel like this is his second big American run here. WrestleMania weekend, going into the GCW shows, and then going into this big show. Pretty cool to see. But that wasn't my favorite match of the night. The main event, that just shows you how well this card was built. Jon Moxley versus Will Osprey, starting in the crowd. Osprey kind of cutting off Mox's entrance here right on the aisle. Mox bleeding, Osprey bleeding, Cutter on the apron, shooting star, 1, 2, Moxley kicks out. Osprey counters the Death Rider, hidden blade, connects, both men down, pile driver, powerbomb, Cutter, 1, 2, Moxley kicks out again. Curb stomp by Moxley, kind of paying homage to his days in the Shield. 1, 2, Osprey kicks out. Death Rider, not once but twice. 1, 2, 3. And then right as Moxley gets a victory, I don't think he's aware he got the victory. Maybe legitimately or just in the body of the show that we're watching. Moxley locks in a headlock after the bell and then hits a Death Rider to the ref when he wins the match. So I'm thinking, of course, I think the ref knew about the Death Rider. I think he called the spot right there on the fly, but I think they had a little bit more planned in this match. We will never know. That's what's fun about pro wrestling. You always have a little bit of doubt. You don't really know what you're watching. You don't know if it's real. You don't know if it's fake. It's mesmerizing. So I don't know if that was supposed to go down, but it was an amazing show. It's the way it did go down. Super well-built show. New Japan officially is in America after that show because the stuff they film in the studio is okay. The stuff they film in the Globe Theater is okay. Even the LA Coliseum or outside the LA Coliseum was kind of cool, but you could tell it was like New Japan trying to expand, where this show, this crowd, and those 3 matches at the end really felt special, really kind of made me feel just like I was watching, Naito Okada or Zack Sabre Jr. Okada. It felt like a big time main event match in New Japan, and I really think you got to go all the way back to Omega Ishii in 2016, 2017 if you're going to talk about a big time New Japan Pro Wrestling main event in America. I guess, they did have that G1, I think in 2019, but not since they've been doing New Japan Strong can you really say they had a big time, well done New Japan show. So this is what they needed to do. They needed to deliver. They needed to hit a home run, and they hit a home run in Chicago. You might as well call them Sammy fucking Sosa. And as always, guys, fly high. I'm out.